Arizona, homeowner's best friend.
Another piece about your system, one of the most important pieces of your system in Arizona is your watering system. So that healthy system starts first with, is my watering system working well? Is it regular? Is it, not binge watering system? It's got to be something that's going to be regularly watering your vegetables down to the depths that they require. Now, each of you has a little different soil, and so I'm going to give you the recipe for understanding how much to water and how often to water. So it's your frequency and your amount of water for each of you custom. So this is the recipe. So you want for your vegetables that each time you water, that water is going down at least 12 inches. And we talked about earlier in the show about how to identify and how to test for how deep your watering is going each time it waters. Now, you might ask, well, how long do I have to do it to get it to that depth? That is dependent upon many conditions that only you will be able to identify. You can hire us at agriscaping.com, come out and we can test some of your stuff out for you. But for doing it yourself, you DIYers, this is what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to set your system up, let it do its watering, whatever you feel the normal watering would be, but it would be 10 minutes or 15 minutes. Let it water. Now go test it an hour later, test the depth. Now, if it only gets down 6 inches, you're going to have to double the amount of time that thing's going to water. So basically just run it again and see if it'll get down to that 12 inches. Now you know effectively the amount of time it's going to take in order for one watering to get to the depth required. Now, next step is what frequency? How often do I water? Well, for my vegetable garden to get it working really well, I'm going to water it after the first inch has dried if I have grown starts. So if my plants have already grown and they have at least 4 leaves, then I know my root system is at least 3 inches deep. And so watering every time I've got about an inch of dry at the top, just a fingertip, and it's dry, then I'm going to water it again. That works. Now, if I'm doing seed starts, then I don't want to do that at all. So if I'm starting with my seeds, and this is just a 2-week period of time, if I'm planting seeds, I'm going to want that soil to be moist to the touch constantly in order to get that seed to sprout. And that might mean that I'm watering it down 3 inches every time I water, but that's going to happen once a day. And maybe it's only 3 minutes. But that's only for that 2-week period of time until the seeds have sprouted and I've got about 3 to 4 leaves growing. Once I have 3 to 4 leaves growing, I want to increase that depth to each watering down to a foot. So hopefully that helps you understand what you're going to need to do. And it's based on yours. And it's going to be custom to yours, because if it's not getting to the depth, then you need to increase the time per time. But if it's holding its moisture longer, then your frequency is going to be a lot less. And often what happens is if you got more clay in your soil, your frequency is less, but your duration is going to be longer. It's going to be slower because you don't want the water to pool and you want to make sure that you get this dialed in just right.
And there is something so satisfying about watching all those little starts coming out, all the little sprouts, and just how does that little tiny plant that push up that soil like that, and you can start seeing a bulge here and a bulge there, and then all of a sudden you've got this green, and the next day it's twice as tall as it was yesterday.
Yep, it's magical. Another way to make sure you're not growing any weed seeds this year is before you plant your seeds to go through, and what we'll do is we'll actually, like right now, we'll actually water it. We'll water the area that we're going to plant, so we know we got the soil right. We're going to water that area, and then we're going to put a little sheet of clear plastic over the top of it. And we're going to let any weed seed that's in that soil, we're going to let it sprout this week. And then it sprouts out, and then I'm going to churn it all under, and I'm going to level it back out, and then I'm going to plant. So basically, I'm forcing it all the weeds to grow. And then now when I plant, it's only the seeds that I planted. So it's a way to kind of get that to kickstart for you.
A lot of people ask about organic weeding, and I had never heard that tactic before. That's brilliant.
Make them grow.
Rosie on the house, every Arizona